Hi, welcome back to SwissWatchExpo. Jason here. Today we're going to be talking about the iconic Rolex Submariner here, and we have two different models that look very similar at a glance, but I'm going to be showing you the differences today, so stay tuned. Hi, welcome back to SwissWatchExpo. So today we're going to be talking about the iconic Rolex Submariner. And if you've looked at these models online, you're probably wondering why there's a few that do have a difference in a little bit of a price variance between the two. Now, when you're looking at them on the website, they do look very similar, and it may be very hard to distinguish what the difference is between maybe the older model or the more current model. So today we're going to be talking about the older 16610 versus the more current 126610. And you can take a look right here, and they look very similar, and it is very difficult to see what the differences are. So I do want to explain a little bit of those differences. So one of the differences that you can't notice just from physical appearance is the movement of the watch. So the 16610 does have the 3135 movement, so that is going to be a 48-hour power reserve, whereas the 3235 movement on the more current model is going to be a 70-hour power reserve. And then also too, when you're looking at the different case sizes here, so the traditional 16610 is the 40mm case size, and then on the 126610, they did update it to the more current 41mm size. Now for me, when you're wearing it on the wrist, there's not a huge difference in that size, because when you talk about a 1mm size difference, it is very negligible, so it is very hard to notice. But for some of those that do like to see it side by side, you can notice that slight difference when you do have them together. But again, when you're wearing them on the wrist, they do look very similar to each other. Another difference that they made is the material of the bezel between the two. So on the 16610, it does have the aluminum bezel insert. And on the more current model, the 126610, you're going to have the more updated ceramic bezel. So it's going to be really good for scratch resistance. It's going to be a little bit more durable. So if this is something that's going to be your everyday wear, that might be something you want to consider. Whereas this one has the aluminum versus the ceramic bezel. Another difference that they did make on the more current models here is that they added this engraved re-hot on the inside of the dial. So you do see the engraved Rolex logo all the way around, and then at the 6 o'clock you do see the exposed serial number that is engraved on the inside of the dial, so you can see it without having to open up the case back. And then on the older model, you would have to open up the case back in order to see that serial number, but it is up to you on if that is something that is important to you as you're making that purchase decision. Now, another thing that you want to look at too is when you look at the 16610, they do have the exposed lug holes on the sides here. So with this, you can use a little tool to punch it out. You can change out the bracelet, makes it very easy. And then on the more current models, Rolex just realized most people, when you're purchasing a Rolex Submariner, you're most likely just going to keep that traditional oyster bracelet on there because it is a very nice bracelet style. It does go with the overall brand of the look of the Submariner. So what Rolex did was they decided to make it a little bit more clean on the side of the case, so you don't have that exposed lug holes on the sides here. So it's up to you if you decide you do like that cleaner look on the sides, or if you do like the idea of being able to use those lug holes to change out the bracelets. Now, one of my favorite changes that they did make on the current models, and this might be a game changer for you as well, is the class difference that they did. So on the 16610, if you take a look right here, you do have your classic micro adjustment holes. So if you take a look, you can adjust it in and out, but you do have to use a specific tool in order to adjust it and to your liking. So if you did want to make it just slightly tighter or a little bit slightly looser on the wrist, you would have to use a tool in order to do so. And on the more current model, they did upgrade the clasp, and that's one of my favorite changes that they did make. Because if you look at the clasp here, there are no exposed holes here. And when you open it up, it's really nice because they actually used a slide mechanism where you actually don't have to use a micro adjustment tool anymore. All you got to do is just pull up on the bracelet, and you can adjust it in and out as you would like. So in the summertime, if you feel like it's just a little bit tight, or you ate something a little bit too salty during lunch and you want to just adjust it out a little bit, you do have that option to just go ahead and adjust it. Or during the winter time, you can go ahead and get that tightened up, which I think is just a fantastic addition that they did make to this model. So for me personally, that would be the game changer to go with the more current 126610 over the 16610. However, if it fits in your budget, again, that change is not something that is completely massive where I think it would make or break it to go with the more current model. But these are both fantastic, iconic models in the Rolex line. If you have a little bit more questions while you're looking through the website, because there are other models in between the 16610 and the 126610. So give us a call. We can do a FaceTime call. We can talk about all the generational differences. And leave a comment down below. What's your favorite model of the Rolex Submariner? I think for me, I think Rolex did a great job at the 126610. So I'd be going for the more current model. So stay tuned until next week.